and welcome everyone to today's session from YUF, your Unifinder study in the Nordic countries, in Finland or Sweden. My name is Gesa Heim, and I hold an MSc in Higher Education Science Management, and I'm specialized in the German and the European higher education sector since over 15 years. A senior expert of the YUF team, a feature that we're going to introduce to you within the framework of the assisted mobile app. And I'm based in Berlin, in Germany. And I'm very, very happy to talk to you today, actually. So we have prepared 3 parts of this session. The first session will be an introduction. The first part will be an introduction about our wonderful tool, Your Unifinder, which helps you to navigate through the jungle of higher education in Europe and even find study programs free of tuition. Then we move a little bit to Scandinavia with a focus on Finland and on Sweden, where we do have study offers that are for international students with a tuition fee, but of very, very high quality. So we give you some insights how that works. In the third part, I am going to introduce you to all of the special features of the assisted mobile app. Okay, so please feel free to ask questions in the chat already while I'm talking. I'm not going to read them while I'm talking, but they are going to be put in the Q&A later. So after, let's say, maybe 35 minutes talking, we'll have plenty of time to answer your questions. And so I think we'll be fine by that structure. Okay, now let me start. So studying in Europe is a great idea because Germany, Sweden, Finland, Switzerland, Italy, France, Malta, and other destinations are extremely great destinations for your study. Unlike other European countries, some of these countries do not distinguish between local and international students when it comes to tuition fees. Countries like Germany, Switzerland, Austria, but also Italy, offer scholarships to students based on their financial background as well as their educational acumen. And there are hundreds of different types of scholarships available with most institutions. And we can assist you to find the right place. Who we are a professional recruitment and higher education consulting team with years of experience in recruitment for the European and worldwide higher education sector. We have experience not just in recruitment, but also in visa processing, accommodation assistance, and scholarship findings. We are committed to providing you assistance from start to end in every aspect of your university admission, application of the submission, coordination of the process with the university, visa support, accommodation, projects during the study. This is a very, very special feature of our app, and many more interesting things. But now, let's move to the Nordic states first. Of course, the Nordic states would comprise Finland, Sweden, Norway, and Denmark, and also Iceland. But we are going to focus today on 2 Nordic states. A bit of general information about the Nordic states, their higher education, which has an extremely high reputation also throughout Europe. So even from Germany, from my country where I'm situated, the students go in masses to study in the Nordic countries because they have such a good academic reputation. The universities encourage you to think critically, independently, and creatively. The countries have a penchant for unique and specialized programs and are researchers' paradises. These higher education institutions have adapted to the Bologna process, to the Europe-wide and very over Europe, far beyond Europe, unifying process of study structures. So the higher education in the Nordic states is divided into 3 levels: bachelor's level, master's level, and doctoral level. And there are pathway and foundation programs leading to the bachelor and master programs. Some specialities about the Nordic countries. You very often find internships during the courses, and a large part of the learning process takes place outside the classroom. So hands-on practical and really down-to-earth approach is very typical for studying in the Nordic countries. Students graduate well prepared for the challenges and demands of the working life. If you go to study and then later to work to the Nordic countries, there's also the option of getting a spouse visa. And there is also very frequently asked questions, no age limit for master's and PhD programs. So if your bachelor is a while ago, you can still qualify and get access to a master or PhD program. So, okay, here again you find the map. This island is Iceland. And the other orange here is Finland. And here you have Norway, Sweden, and little Denmark, our esteemed neighbor from Germany, from German perspective, of course. So let me first take you to Sweden. Let's enjoy this beautiful picture of Stockholm for a while, but not too long because you would like to have some facts, I guess. So about Sweden, you might know that the capital of Sweden is Stockholm and the currency is the Swedish krona because Sweden didn't join the euro. That is valid, for example, in Finland, in Germany, and in many, many other European countries. The Swedish government invests a higher proportion of GDP, of the gross domestic product, in research and development than most of the other nations. Sweden is the country with the highest number of patents per capita in Europe. And Sweden, just some weeks ago we could hear this again because it was in the focus of the attention. Sweden is the home of the Nobel Prize. That means something, right? So why should you go to Sweden? Why this is a good idea? The higher education system is known to be one of the best in the world. Sweden tops in the European Innovation Scoreboard. The language is not a barrier, as programs, especially on the master's level, are taught in English. There's a very high employment rate and high average wages per hour, so this is a good perspective for you after graduation. Diversity and a wide range of programs, and student nations, organizations specifically responsible for organizing students' events are very, very common in Sweden. Swedish passport is the second most powerful in the world, of course, only because you come to Sweden, you don't have the Swedish passport yet, but there's a perspective always, I guess. And Sweden is one of the world's most innovative countries, and it has been called the most digitally connected economy. So it's a very, very recommendable place to be. Let's get a little bit more practical. The living expenses are 750 to 800 euro a month. This is calculated quite tightly because there are some things in Sweden that are really, in general in Scandinavia, that are really expensive, like, for example, to go to restaurants and bars. But if you stick to students' clubs and so on, and stick to this normal student nightlife, then it's no problem. There are 14 public universities and 17 public university colleges in Sweden. And there is a very, very strong and well-to-industry connected career center at each university. The Swedes are very consequent and very structured and organized in doing that. The tuition fees for international students range from 6,500 to 8,000 euros per semester. So this is quite an investment into your future career and life if you go to Sweden. But it's still a lot cheaper than if you compare these prices, for example, to Australia, to the US, or to Canada. Okay, what else can I tell you about Sweden? Of course, there's the possibility to find scholarships. Scholarships provided by the Swedish Institute dedicated to international students applying to master's degree programs. Make sure you don't miss that opportunity. Scholarships offered by the WISPY program, the partnership program between EU Eastern countries and Russia. Awards are offered to students who apply to programs focusing on subject areas related to sustainability, innovation, and corporate social responsibility. scholarships offered by individual universities. Each institution is free to decide the amount, duration, and admission criteria for scholarships. Country-specific scholarships offered to international students from certain countries. Funds come from some universities, independent foundations, and other types of organizations. And there's, of course, the famous study portal scholarship, the International Distinction Award. So all of these possibilities, I will tell you more about scholarships and how to apply to and find the right scholarships when I explain you the features of the assisted mobile app. But one thing that I would like you to understand already now is to apply for a study spot at a Swedish university is always one application, and the scholarship application is always a second application. So these two applications are separate, and very often you have to apply for the scholarship before you even have applied for the spot at the university. Our experts at the backend panel of the assisted mobile app will explain all of these procedures, the necessary requirements, and so on to you, so you be in safe hands there. Just make sure you understood that, yeah, that these are two distinguished applications and distinct applications, actually. Okay, so now brace yourselves. These are the top universities in Sweden. The Karolinska Institute, it's very famous for engineering and IT. Lund University in the south of Sweden, beautiful place at the border to Denmark. It's just over the belt. Uppsala University, which is the oldest university in Sweden. I forgot when it was founded, but it must be in the 1600 somethings. So it's a very old university, very strong. Stockholm University, Sweden's capital, wasn't always in Stockholm, so Stockholm University is a lot younger. But it's also a very, very powerful institute. The University of Gothenburg, Chalmers University of Technology, KTH Royal Institute of Technology, Örebro University, and the Swedish University of Agricultural Sciences. These are the top-ranked universities. But you see in Scandinavia, all the institutions have a high quality. They might not be of the top 10 universities worldwide, but the general level is very high. So if you have this list, you have an orientation about the top 10 best ranked lists in Sweden. But you can be sure that at all the accredited public Swedish institutions and also the private institutions, there's a high quality of higher education. So you don't only need to take this criteria of the ranking in order to decide to which university to go. I have other important universities here: Jönköping University, Skövde, Halmstad, Linköping, Linnaeus, and Umeå. Umeå is very, very, very far north, so it's fun to be there, I think, especially in summer. It's a different life from possibly where you are, but it's beautiful, and the communities are quite close. So it's quite a very, very good thing to go as a young person to Sweden, because you will make many, many positive experiences. For your career, there's a strong collaboration between the academic institutions and the industry, and skilled professionals in the field of computer science, IT, web development, psychology, and preschool education are in extremely high demand. I mean, really in high demand. The presence of world-renowned Swedish companies, IKEA, Spotify, Volvo, Ericsson, AstraZeneca, Tetra Pak, H&M, and others, is quite clear. So I think these brands stand for themselves for innovation, for a young and quite modern design thinking. Most of you always have this question about the permanent residence. So there's a post-study visa option for 12 months. And if you have had a residence permit for work for 4 years, you must have also worked in Sweden for at least 44 months during your permit period to be able to receive a permanent resident period. So this means there is a combination of the time that you could have worked and that you actually worked. And if this accumulates to 44 months, then you can apply for a permanent residence permit. If you have lived in Sweden and had a resident permit for doctoral studies for a total of 4 years, over the past 7 years, you may also be able to get a permanent residence permit, because PhD education in Sweden is not only academic, you are always employed at the university. So to do a PhD in Sweden means really to work at the university, to be an employee there. That's why it counts. Okay. Enough of Sweden. Then let's move to beautiful Finland. If I had to decide, I really wouldn't be sure. Sweden is a bit bigger. Finland has a bit more dramatic landscape. Well, anyways, you decide if one of these countries is good for you. The overview on Finland. Finland is a northern European nation bordering Sweden, Norway, and Russia. Helsinki is the capital of Finland, and it is the home to the most beautiful northern lights. When you go to the north of Finland, you will see these magic lights. It's really magic. I won't tell you more about that because this is not an advertisement for holidays, of course. Education is a strong part of Finnish culture from preschool years into adulthood. There's a very, very high rate also of Finns enrolled at universities, which is the same at all over Scandinavia, basically. Finland's top-ranked higher education system offers more than 400 English-taught bachelor's and master's degrees programs in 13 universities and 22 universities of applied sciences, UAS. This is a very, very important point, guys, because while Swedish is not really easy to learn, but it's learnable, Finnish is really very, very difficult to learn. So Finnish is supposed to be one of the most difficult languages to learn. So don't try to learn Finnish in order to study in Finnish. Go to Finland, study in English, and then have language courses there and learn with these very, very friendly people. But don't try to study in Finnish, okay? It will take you a long time till you have a level of Finnish that enables you to do that. Finnish higher education institutions have over 20,000 international students studying in several locations around Finland. And the safety index is 78.68, which is the 12th worldwide. So it's a very, very, very safe country. And according to the World Happiness Report, it is the happiest country in the world. And over again, every time they issue this World Happiness Report, it's always the Finns being so happy. I've read a little bit of analysis about that, and the key seems to be that Finns are rarely very, very enthusiastic and say, oh yeah, this is the greatest thing that ever happened to me, and so you won't find that in Finland. But the Finns are very, very resilient when it comes to difficult times, a dark winter, dark periods, and so on. They keep calm, they do their thing, and they never, get desperate and so on. And this is, I think, the secrets of the Finns that you can also learn and adapt in that country. And that helps you really very much to lead a peaceful and, as you see, happy life, because the Finns feel happy with this philosophy and mentality. Beginning on student visa, students are allowed to work up to 24 hours per week in Finland. According to Statistics Finland, 55% of university students reported having an employment contract while studying. So you see, it's quite common in Finland to work and study. 1 year post-study visa will be granted to the student if they wish to stay back in Finland. As per studies conducted, almost 50% of the international students stay back in Finland after their graduation. As I told you, once you get used to the Finnish lifestyle, it's wonderful and it makes people very happy. A work-based residence permit can be applied for once the student obtains a full-time employment. The student will be eligible for permanent residency after working for 4 consecutive years. Maybe one word about the job market in Finland. It's easy to find a job. It's also easy to be kicked out of the job, but then it's again very easy to find the next job. So the Finnish job market is a rather dynamic happening. Exactly. So let's move now to the cost of education and living. There are 2 different aspects to consider. First of all, the tuition fees and the related scholarship options. And in addition to that, of course, the everyday living expenses. Finnish higher education institutions offer a range of scholarship options for those non-EU EEA students, which is based on different universities. The annual tuition fees depend on the university and the program, varying between €4,000 and €18,000. Monthly living expenses for students, including food, accommodation, travel insurance, are between €700 and €900. And again, if you want to go to restaurants or drink alcohol in Finland, then this sum will not be enough. If you're fine with student accommodation, cooking with friends, and so on, this will, I think, be enough. So, what more? Information on scholarships. Finnish government and EU scholarships for international students. There are Erasmus Mundus scholarship programs in Finland. These are special study programs where once you apply and are admitted to the program, this is the real exception, because normally, as I told you before, you need to apply for the program and then for the scholarship. For Erasmus Mundus programs, you get the scholarship with the program admission. And Finnish universities participate in a number of these study programs, which are funded by the European Union. So if you use the assisted mobile app, you can also watch out for these programs. And we'll tell you later how to do that. There are university scholarships. For example, the Aalto University offers a number of full scholarships for non-EU EEA, so international citizens, in these programs. And the scholarships will be allocated in order of merit. The University of Helsinki scholarships for international students is intended for excellent students from outside the EU for master programs. And also other universities might offer scholarship programs to you. We'll show you a list of the famous universities in Finland. So University of Helsinki, an excellent institution. I've been there quite a few times. Full-fledged, really state-of-the-art, very modern, very well-organized university, just as Aalto University, which is also in Helsinki. And it's a very good alternative to the University of Helsinki. There's University of Turku, Tampere, which was actually the first university of Finland, I believe. The University of Tampere, University of Eastern Finland, of Oulu, of Jyväskylä, and there I myself have to practice my Finnish, Lappeenranta University of Technology and the Abo Academy University. So again, we give you this list of universities to show you how is the ranking internally in Finland, if this is important to you. Again, we can almost guarantee, that all the programs at all the Finnish higher education institutions are quality accredited and very, very studyable, especially for students from abroad. Because they are all in English, there's full service, and as I said, the Finns are very calm, very structured, and very organized, so they help you to get through all of the difficulties that you might face in the beginning. Career prospects for Finland. Finland is home to two of the world's largest companies. Konioi is an international engineering service company across 60 countries worldwide. It was founded already in 1910, and its headquarters are located in Espoo, near Helsinki. The company has been ranked as the 32nd most sustainable companies in 2020. And of course, there's the famous Nokia Corporation, a Finnish multinational telecommunications, information technology, and consumer electronics company founded in 1865. So these guys are there since a long time, and they will be. And the headquarters are also located in Espoo. And there are many, many startups, a very creative industry, design industry. Once you go to Finland, you feel that there is a lot of very innovative things going on, always having in mind sustainability. How can we as humans live on this planet and still be productive, and so on. I think the Finns are a leading country also in this aspect. Okay, That was our visit, our short trip to Scandinavia, to Sweden and to Finland. And now I'll tell you how to use the assisted mobile app, the world's #1 app for international higher education in Europe. Just a little bit of coffee. So I hope by now you've all found the time to download the app. We still struggle a little bit to provide it on iOS. So if you would need it on iOS and you can't find it, you can simply use our website. It's a bit less of features, of course, that are offered by the website. But for the beginning, the website can also quite help you. So the assisted mobile app connects students looking to study overseas for the higher education, and they can use the app for searching and applying to top universities, getting virtual counseling, participate in discussion forums, get information and support for visa processing, projects, and accommodation. Educational experts can get access to an active student community and guide them for the higher education needs. They can even conduct online counseling and events to promote their service or participate in forum discussions and more. Educators can register their universities here and promote their study programs to a diversified student body. Post news and events on upcoming programs or new accreditations received to attract more students to the institute, and more with the assisted mobile app. But there are also all the universities listed that do not really actively advertise, so that you have the choice of all the universities, okay? Actually, if you tried already to download it, there's a very simple process flow. You download the app and you create your profile, an attractive academic profile, but of course truthful, please, with all your information that will supplement your search and enable us to find the best matching study program for you. You can search through our wide range of university options using multiple filters to find your best choice. And there's so much to do, like joining virtual events, read up on the news, articles, search for good housing options, or book an appointment for counseling. Great news! Help your peers experience the new age of international education. Share the app with the others. That's always something you should do, because maybe also you don't want to go alone on your study experience in Europe, but bring your friends or some family with you. Our search engine is very clear. You can search for universities, which is very difficult sometimes. If you go to national search engine, you will find only the Swedish ranking or only the Finnish ranking and so on and so forth. So this search engine really helps you to compare your options over the borders of the countries. Intake periods, scholarship options, and many more things are listed here. And you can filter your search based on countries, study programs, tuition fees, and more, but also, of course, criteria like language knowledge, right? If you don't have an IELTS and you need a study offer where you could study only because you have you have studied your bachelor's in English, but you don't have an IELTS, you could also do that. If you choose between two or more schools, you can simply use the compare feature to evaluate them on different parameters to choose the best. And the university details will contain everything from the date of inception of the university to the program list, campuses, ranking, and more in a very structured and comparable layout, which is worth something if you have ever tried to compare university study programs in search engines. As I said, there are webinars, virtual fairs, workshops, virtual tours of universities presented. There is a housing and accommodation feature. And once you are enrolled at a European university of your choice, and stay connected and have the assisted mobile app, we can connect you to the practice portal internship portal Praxis, where you can get projects and internships during your studies. A very, very useful thing, especially if you study master courses. Chats and forums, and you also have the function to find an agent near you if you want to talk to someone personally. We believe that it's now the time to have online higher education consultation. And with the assisted expert feature, you get the opportunity to connect with an international education expert with years of experience and knowledge in the European higher education sector, who can guide you in each and every aspect of your European university admission process. We expect this app is brand new, and we expect a huge number of student users for the first year. And the student community that will be connected through various partnered websites and platforms guarantees a very impressive numbers of users. The free availability, all of this is for free, coupled with the diverse set of features showcased here, makes the app an assured option for every international higher education pursuing student. We would like to convince you once more that it's a great idea to go to Europe, because this is going to be the top destination for international students of the future. Already now, if you compare how many students go abroad and go to one of the top-ranked universities, take both of these experts, then Europe is the first destination to go worldwide. So, on scholarships, some words on scholarships, because I'm already talking since more than half an hour and you might have had enough of this and you might have many questions. So, just a little bit of patience, we're almost through. Scholarships in the form of full or partial tuition fee waivers are the most common international scholarships offered by universities and are usually in the academic category. Tuition fee scholarships are the next best thing to fully funded scholarships, in a sense that a good portion of your study costs is already covered. With the assisted mobile app, you can browse through the wide range of scholarship options available for different countries and locate the option that best suits your profile. Additionally, you can choose to talk to one of our assisted experts who are fully equipped to guide you through these procedures. This is really important because all of these searches and so on are AI based, of course. But sometimes these scholarship questions are very personal ones because there are a lot of parameters that play a role. So if you don't find a matching scholarship in the search, please do contact the backend panel experts of the assisted app that are there for you 24/7, because they are the ones who know all the offers and who can help you to assess where it could be worth applying. Something very, very important. Accommodation. With the assisted mobile app, we eliminate the need for you to browse for hours. Instead, we bring unlimited housing options just at your fingertips. You get details of the apartments with price, dimensions, contact information, pictures, and if you are accommodation provided, you post the things. Possibly you are not, so you get the postings. You as a student, you look at the postings, and you can also consult and connect with one of our experts if you need, for example, advice whether this accommodation is close enough to the campus, or my university has 3 campuses. Which campus do I have to stay? Where am I going to study? And so on. So it's very helpful also to have experts there in the back end. Same is valid, maybe even more important, for visa support. Whether for higher education or internships, the assisted mobile app offers services to all your visa-related requirements from A to Z. Get all the information from visa procedures to documents, interviews, and more. Talk to our experts virtually and get step-by-step assistance about these very important questions, like where do I apply? Which type of visa do I need? How do I crack the visa interview? What are common questions asked there? How will I apply? What are the documents needed? What is the insurance needed? There are so many questions related to visa that we believe it's a very, very useful service for you. Maybe one remark: in order for us to be able to help you with the visa service, you need a letter of invitation, a letter of admission by the university, or if you do an internship, a letter of invitation by your employer. If you do not have this as a basis, even us, we can't do magic. We can do administration, we can do AI and so on, we can't do magic. Without this invitation, it will not be possible to get a visa to a European country. Yeah, and that's already it. Oops, that was quick. Yeah, if you can't find us because you have an iPhone, if you can't download the app because the iOS process still takes a little while, then please find us on the website. We are there for you 24/7. We'd like to answer your questions, of course. And there I am. I'll have another sip of coffee and will answer you all of your questions that you have concerning studying in the Nordic countries, in Europe in general, about the app, about the use of the app, about what the app can do and cannot do, and so on. Hi, Angel. What a nice name. Is IELTS mandatory for Sweden? The Swedish universities do not have central admission criteria, so it's not the Swedish state that says, okay, look, this is the admission criteria, but they put admission criteria themselves. So that's why it's utmost important to use our filter search and to find out the requirements from each university and from each study program. So, in general, there is no general IELTS requirement, but it might be that many of the student study programs actually have this requirement. Oh yes, the Sweden has adapted to the Bologna system, so they offer 3 years bachelor and 2 years master programs. So there should be no problem. Um, Concerning the duration, you would have to check whether the bachelor program that you are have been graduating from qualifies you to do the master program in Sweden. But normally, if you have taken 180 ECTS hours during your bachelor studies, that should be fine. Okay, we've had that question. Cordelia typed it into. Bella, I'm engineer in biology, molecular biology. What should I apply? Maîtrise or PhD? Okay, Fella, maybe you would like to type in how many years you studied, because we don't know which country you're coming from. If there are any doubts whether your engineering studies qualify you to go for a PhD directly or for a master's program, then please do contact our assisted mobile experts on the panel, because they can always check within the regulations. Is there any age range for master program applications? No. There's no age discrimination in Scandinavia. It's legally forbidden. No, and there's also no period. For example, if your bachelor is 10 years ago, um, you can still apply for a master. This culture of lifelong learning is quite enrooted in Scandinavia. Can spouse accompany along with a bachelor student? It depends on the spouse. Not on, I mean, if it's just on the basis of the status as a spouse, I'm afraid it will not be possible. But if the spouse herself or himself goes for studying or has, for example, a job qualification as nurse, as medical assistant, as IT, whatever, then this person can go on their own rights. So this is always a possibility, which I'd also recommend, by the way. Whether Finland universities provide 100% scholarships, well, it's certainly a challenge to get a 100% scholarship. As we listed, there are universities that provide tuition fee scholarships. So I think it is quite feasible if you're a qualified student to get a tuition fee scholarship. It's also no 100% chance, but then you still have the 700 to 900 euros of living expenses that you need per month. To cover both by a scholarship is quite a challenge. So I'll be here for another few minutes. If you have more questions, you can always type them in the chat. If we have answered all of your questions, that's also fine. For me, it's lunchtime here in Germany. It's like 1 o'clock. um, Otherwise, exactly, you can always later contact us via the app, via the website if you couldn't download the app. There is a huge and very strong expert group waiting for your questions. And there's almost no questions that they wouldn't be able to answer with a little bit of research, because we have these many years in higher education, recruitment, placement, cooperation with the universities. So you really have a trusted partner here who has sent thousands, if not 10,000s of students to Europe. Okay, the stayback period in Sweden is 1 year. Yeah. And the permission for work and study in Sweden or Finland, it's always, if you get a student visa to a European country, you always have the right to work. There are always certain limitations on the number of hours that you are allowed to work, because if you're considered as a student, you're not considered as a part-time but as a full-time student. And then you're normally allowed during the semester to work something like 10 hours a week, and during the semester holidays, more than 10 hours a week. And what was I about to say? Oh, yeah, and there are certain limits on the kind of work you're allowed to do. So you wouldn't, for example, be allowed to do your own business, to build up your own business, or to, like, for example, if you're an engineer, to work as freelance consultant or something like that. This wouldn't be possible, or at least only with some consultation, after some consultation with the immigration office. Or, for example, you can't found, let's say, a restaurant or a bar. You can't go to Finland and say, look, this is my new, I don't know, whatever restaurant, and so on. Even if you had the money to, this would require a different kind of visa. Okay, there are quite a few out of you out there. So if you have more questions, please make use of the opportunity. I'm very willing and prepared to answer them all. Um, been doing this many years, so highly welcome. Okay, I think as we do not have more questions, we are simply going to say goodbye for today. We gave you many possibilities to keep in touch with us and to ask your questions later. And so I think, tech team, we are prepared to play the final video, right? And then end the session, and hopefully you enjoy your afternoon and your evening. Thanks very much for being with us today, and hopefully see you in Europe soon.